Welcome to another review from the Four Corners of the Board with your host, Graeme Anderson. Hello everyone, this is Graeme Anderson from Four Corners of the Board. Today I'm going to be looking at a game called Purrrlock Holmes Furriarty's Trail. Now this is a simple deduction game and it's set in the Sherlock Holmes universe. Now first of all, I really like the Sherlock Holmes universe. Second of all, I really like deduction games. And third of all, yes, I do like cats as well. So the three things that I like make a great game. Well, when we get to the table, see how it's played, then we'll come back for my final thoughts on Purrrlock Holmes. So here we have Purrrlock Holmes all set up for a three-player game. At the start of the game, each person is going to be taking a card face down. They will not look at the front of it and place it in their little plastic holder here. Now the goal of the game is to figure out who is in front of you, and by doing that, you'll be collecting these clue tokens to hopefully catch Furriarty before he leaves off the end of the board. Now as you can see, for three players, each player has a card in front of them, and you want to make sure that the other players around the table can see the cards, but that you cannot see the card that's in front of you. To start the game, each player is going to be taking two cards off the deck, and they're going to be doing what's called the investigation action, which is showing cards one at a time to the other people around the table and asking them whether this is a clue or a dead end. Now it's going to be a clue if either the type of animal or the time is correct or the time is adjacent. So this one says 9 o'clock, so if the card here was adjacent or exactly 9 o'clock, that would be a clue, or if the card in front of the person was a dog, that would also be a clue. If it is a clue, which this is, it goes on the clue side, and then you can also show this one, and now it's another dog at 6 o'clock, that is not a clue, so that's a dead end, so it goes on the other side. Each person is going to do this, and I'm not going to do it properly. I'm just going to put the cards down in front of people. Next thing that happens is the first player is going to draw 4 cards, and each other player is just going to draw 2 cards. And we've designated this as the first player, and because of that, we're putting the Furriarty token to the left of that person. Each time the play goes around and passes Furriarty, he gets to move along the track and get closer towards escaping. So on your turn, you have to do an investigate action, and then optionally you can do a guess. And you can do them in either order which you'd like. So to do the investigation action, you're going to be taking the cards and you're going to be having a look at them, and you're going to pick one of these cards and show it to everyone else and ask them, is that a clue or a dead end? So here I have the rat, and everybody else will tell me that this is a dead end. And again, I'm going to have a look at this, and let's say I want to have a look at the frog. And I'm going to show this to everyone, and they will tell me whether this is a dead end or a clue. In this case, it's a clue. Now I have the option to guess. If I do decide to guess, I have to say how many things I'm going to guess. I can either guess one item, and I have to say whether I'm guessing the type of animal or the time, or I can guess both items. If I correctly guess what it is, and if I say I'm going to guess, let's say, the animal, and I guess it correctly, the people will tell me I get to take the leftmost clue token and place it on that card. I would discard all the other cards, draw a new card, and do that same investigation by taking 2 cards off, showing them, and then continuing. If I get it incorrect, the only thing that happens is you're going to be passing the 2 cards to the next person anyway, whether you guess or whether you don't guess. But if you guess incorrectly, you will not draw 2 more cards from your hand, which means when it comes back around to you, you're only going to be having 2 cards in your hand as opposed to 4 cards. So let's say I decide not to guess because I don't have enough information. I would take these 2 cards, pass on to the next player. They would take the 2 cards that they had previously plus the 2 cards I just gave them, and then they will do the same thing. They're going to guess and or investigate in whichever order they want. Now you never have to guess on your turn, but you do have to investigate. So let's say I decide it comes back around to this person, and they decide to guess this time. They can guess one of 2 things. So they're looking at these cards and trying to figure out what is back here. So let's say I'm going to guess 2 things. I'm going to guess both that I'm a frog and it's 9 o'clock, and that just happens to be correct. So because I guessed 2 things correctly, I'm going to take the left 2 most, get rid of these into the discard pile, again draw a new card without looking at it, draw 2 cards and ask people about these 2 cards whether they're clues or whether they're dead ends. Now both those are dead ends. Play continues until it reaches Furriarty, then he will move 1 step closer, flip that token over, and you're going to keep on going, hopefully getting guesses correctly to collect more clues. If he ever gets off the board, so he escapes, everybody loses. and then you're going to be looking at whoever has the most cases that they have solved has basically wasted most of their time and not gone after Furriarty, so they become Scotland Pound's litter box inspector. If someone does, let's say these clues are all taken out, and then someone guesses correctly, they take the Furriarty token, who is worth 3 points. Then everybody will add up all their tokens. Whoever has the most points is the winner, and they will become Scotland Pound's chief inspector. The one other thing that you can do, not on your turn, is you can flip over your card and put it to the kind of pause -1 side, and that allows you to take a guess at who you are out of turn. So it's the only time you can do that, and basically it's a one-shot deal, and at the end of the game, you're going to be having a -1 penalty. That would basically be if this was clear, and I thought I knew who my character was, but it wasn't my turn, and I want to catch Furriarty, then I can just flip this over and basically pause that person's turn and make my guess. Anyway, that's pretty much the game. So when we get back to the table and see what I thought about Purrrlock Holmes. So, do 3 things I like equal a great game? Well, almost. I must say one of the best things this game has going for it is the theme. Now, I've played this with both a family setting with my 12-year-old son and also with a group of adult gamers as well. And I don't know how many times adult gamers have come across and went, oh, it's cats, let's play that. And the theme only takes it so far though. Once it gets to the table and we've played it, people aren't asking to play it again right after the fact. It's not a game you're going to be playing back to back because of the main mechanism of the game. Now, the main mechanism, although interesting, the fact that you're drawing a card and trying to guess what it is based on the clues that you were basically making during the game, that doesn't change. Every time you draw a card, it's exactly the same process. So for me, I kind of felt that I wish there was a little more deduction to the game. Now, that being said, my 12-year-old son, it was great for him. And I could see with a younger audience, this is going to be a great deduction game because it doesn't change. And it teaches them how to use the cards in front of them to make those deduction steps to figure out who they are. And it works great for that. Now, I did find, though, that after maybe 2 rounds and you've laid out 4 cards from your investigation, generally people knew one of the 2 characteristics. So they were guessing fairly early. And I found to get both of the characteristics down usually took a couple more rounds from that. And I still haven't figured out which is the best way to go, whether it's best to go, short, getting the 1 characteristic and getting the 1 token that way, or kind of waiting to get the 2 tokens. Generally, I found that it worked either way. It didn't seem to be one way have an advantage or the other way. I did like the artwork in this game. I thought the art was great. It really suited it. And just the whole idea of the game worked very well. Now, as I've said before, it does kind of get repetitive, and that's all that there's in the box. It's just one way to play, and once you've done it a couple times, it starts to get a little thin. This is not to say it's a bad game. This is a game that's going to stay in my collection, and I'm giving it a good review because it is simple, it's easy to get into, it's got great artwork, and it's just a theme that kind of draws people in, as long as you like cats, of course. And I found for a family setting with younger kids that you want to get into deduction games, this is definitely one to try. And as always, thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching another review from the Four Corners of the Board. Please like and subscribe to these videos. You can also follow us on social media, email us directly, or check out our website at fourcornersoftheboard.com.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.